What if the biggest thing killing your productivity isn't notifications or social media or even lack of motivation, but it's the screen you're staring at all day long? Because most tablets are designed to pull your attention in 100 different directions, and then most e-ink devices go too far the other way. They're slow, they're limited, and they're frustrating to actually use. And that's the gap that TCL says this device is actually trying to fix. It's the TCL Note A1 NXTPAPER, and instead of being just another tablet or just another e-note, it's trying to become something completely different altogether, a focused thinking tool that blends a paper-like display, real pen-on-paper writing, and AI that actually helps instead of getting in the way. So the core idea here is simple. If you want better output, you don't need deeper focus, and the Note A1 is built from the ground up around that very idea. Now, the first thing that really defines this device is the display. TCL calls it the Nextpaper Pure, and it's based on 4 generations of their Nextpaper technology, but tuned specifically for reading and writing rather than media consumption. Now, the panel is an 11.5-inch 2.2K panel running at 120Hz with full 16.7 million color support, which is already very different from traditional e-ink devices that sit closer to 20 or 30Hz and struggle with color depth and motion. And the high refresh rate really does make writing feel even more natural. Now, what makes this screen special isn't just the resolution or the refresh rate, it's the way it's actually treated. You've got 3A crystal shield glass on top, meaning anti-glare, anti-reflection, and anti-fingerprint, and the result is a screen that stays readable in a bright light, it doesn't bounce reflections back at you, and it doesn't feel like you're constantly wiping it clean. It's TUV Rhineland certified for paper-like display, it's flicker-free and reflection-free performance, and it's also SGS certified for ultra-low blue light under 2.44%, which is exactly what you want if you're reading or writing for long periods of time. Now, unlike traditional e-ink, there's no ghosting here either. You've got no smearing when you scroll and no lag when you turn pages or even move content around. Everything just feels immediate, which is where that 120Hz refresh rate really matters. Now, it keeps the experience fluid, but without the harsh glare you'd normally associate with LCD tablets. Now, the display is paired with the T Pen Pro, and this is where the Note A1 really starts to separate itself. The stylus supports a whopping 8,192 levels of pressure sensitivity with under 5 milliseconds of latency, so when you write, the ink appears exactly where you expect it to and almost instantly. Now, there's an X-axis linear motor inside that provides subtle tactile feedback, giving each stroke a little bit of resistance, so it generally feels closer to writing on real paper rather than glass. The Note A1 also charges the pen wirelessly, and it just magnetically attaches onto the top. Now, TCL even went as far as getting the world's first TUV Rhineland certification for its pencil-like writing on the device, and the stylus itself is dual-ended with the writing tip on one side and then the eraser on the other. And this makes the whole workflow feel natural if you're used to pen and paper. And it's one of those things that sound minor, but once you're using it, you stop thinking about the tool and just focus on what you're actually writing. Now, the A1 is also comfortable to hold. It's a full metal unibody design with 5.5mm of thickness, but it still feels strong, sturdy, and well built. Whether you're holding it in the hand, using it like a tablet, having it on the table and writing with the pen, or even using the keyboard attachment, everything just feels comfortable and natural. So if we go ahead and create a new handwritten note, you can select between multi-page or freeform. You can choose the color of the paper you want, and we've even got specialty papers included as well. So we've got things here like sketch paper, craft paper, and more. Now, we've got plenty of templates, whether you want lines for writing on, dotted paper for shapes, and many, many more. Once you've selected all of your options, you just press create and get to writing. Now, it's as simple as selecting the tool you want at the top and then just writing away on the pad, and it does feel natural to write on, with the resistance making it more like real paper. Now, where things get a little bit more interesting is how TCL has led AI into it, because instead of just pushing it front and center of the device, they've built it around actual workflows. You've got real-time audio transcription using the built-in 8-microphone array, and this uses directional pickup and intelligent noise reduction to focus on the speaker and cut out background distractions like typing or room noise. And that's useful for meetings, lectures, or interviews, especially when you want clean text without re-listening to the recordings. Now, it means you've got the transcript in there as well as the actual audio, and using the AI summary, you can quickly neaten everything up, so we'll just take a look at that now. So this is a test with the Note A1's AI. Of course, instead of writing, I just want to speak it because it's going to save a lot of time. So I'm actually making the YouTube video here. So of course, step one, I need to use the Note A1, see what it can do. Then I need to film the A roll, film the B roll, film the speaking of it. And I'm going to have to go through all this, and then I'm going to have to edit the video, make a thumbnail, and publish it to YouTube. So now I've spoken that, if I just press stop, I'm going to press start the transcription there, and it's going to completely transcribe that for me. As I said, it does keep a copy of the audio recording. So this is a test with the Note A1's AI, of course, instead of writing. So it's great that you've got the transcript and you've got the audio recording. And then you can see here the transcript is done. So we've got more options. If you've done it in another language, you can also translate it to English and it will auto detect that language. If we head into AI, we can get an AI summary. And as you can see, it's completely summarized it for me there. So you can actually do a lot more with it as well. So if we copy that, we can paste it into a new document if I get rid of the keyboard. So you can now see we've got everything summarized there. And that's not everything. So if we go to the AI, you've got plenty of options for rewrite, help me write, translation, and even summarize if it's not summarized content. So we'll go rewrite, and I'll just go polish. Let it rewrite. And you can see it's now polished up that text for me. So we can say a bit more detail if we want a bit more detail. And as you can see, it's the same text, but a lot more detail and a lot more that was spoken in there. And of course, there's much more in there as well. And you can even type exactly how you want it to be refined. There's real-time translation built in as well. You've got handwriting to text conversion, handwritten formula recognition that turns written equations into computable results. You've got handwriting beautification to clean up notes, and one-stroke formation that keeps writing consistent. Now for longer pieces of text, the AI toolbox can rewrite, summarize, translate, or refine content, which makes this feel much more like a thinking companion than a passive notebook. One of the standout features is the inspiration space that lets you stay organized on the spot, and it's essentially an AI-powered personal knowledge hub. If you've got something you want to keep, you just press the button on the pen, you can quickly circle it, and it then instantly transfers into the inspiration space with its source attached. And this isn't just for visual content either, and pressing the pen while recording audio is also going to save it in the inspiration space along with the source. Now that means that when you come back to an idea later, you're not wondering where it came from or what the context was. Over time, those fragments start connecting a knowledge base, which is incredibly useful if you're researching, writing papers, or working on creative projects that build over weeks or months. From a hardware perspective, the Note A1 keeps things clean and minimal. As I said, it's just 5.5mm thick, and it weighs in at about 500 grams, and it's a full aluminium unibody, so it feels solid without being heavy. You get 256 GB of storage, which is plenty for documents, books, and creative projects, and it's got an 8000 mAh battery designed for long reading and writing sessions rather than quick bursts of media consumption. Now, there's also a fingerprint sensor for fast and secure unlocking, and broad file support for over 15 formats including PDF, Word, and PowerPoint, so you're not constantly converting files just to get some work done. Now, while the Note A1 doesn't have the Play Store, you can also install your own Android applications by either downloading them directly to the device or transferring the APK from a computer, meaning you can install any apps you want, but the whole point here is to try and keep you productive rather than have you doing anything like playing games or watching movies on the tablet. And another thing I like is the keyboard attachment. While I find myself most of the time just handwriting things on this, it's a great option to have the keyboard for when you need to type, and given that we've got apps like Outlook and web browsers, this is when I'm always using the keyboard the most. Replying to emails just becomes like using my laptop, and browsing the web is also much more natural and easy. While other notepads tend to have a bad browsing experience, thanks to the 120Hz color display, it's literally no different than using my laptop, apart from the fact it's actually much easier on the eye. We've even got the eye comfort mode to push that even further. Now in the toolbar, we've got useful quick shortcuts like sound, brightness, eye comfort, and even casting or taking screenshots. When it comes to the unboxing, if we open it up, you can see we've first got the A1, we've then got the pen, which also magnetically sits on top of the tablet, we've then got the manuals and documentation, plenty of spare nibs, and the USB-C cable for charging. Now they've also sent me their keyboard cover, which I love. It not only protects the device, but for those doing emails or browsing the web, or just wanting to do a lot more typing, it's perfect. And for those that don't need a keyboard, we've got a standard flip case as well. Now something I like about the attachments is that everything is magnetic, so it just goes together smoothly and means it won't wear over time. Now the way everything comes together is what makes the Note A1 so interesting. It's not trying to replace your laptop, and it's not trying to be a Netflix tablet. It's very deliberately positioned as a daily thinking companion, Something you reach for when you want fewer distractions, clearer ideas, and a smoother path from thought to output, but also still a capable device. Now, for those of you that want to check out the Note A1, of course, I've placed a link down in the description below, and it's currently a Kickstarter campaign which is launched today. And hopefully I've covered everything in today's video, but if there is anything I've missed or you've got any questions at all, then just ask them in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But thanks for watching the video, and don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with the latest tech.